Poso maoni wiak, waiwanan kitana ni mua e yoski piataya posnotaman e yum MITW Podcast. A yospis piataya posnapi notaman e ne hisikimaka e yoso matnameneha kihi.
Welcome to the Menominee Indian Tribe of Wisconsin podcast. I'm your host, Sheena Mapus. On this episode, I am joined by Vaughn Bowles, Public Information Officer for the Menominee Indian Tribe of Wisconsin. I would like to remind everyone we request you send in your COVID-19 related questions to us at podcast@mitw.org. Welcome, Vaughn.
Thanks, Sheena.
So Vaughn, right off the bat, can you give us the information about the child vaccine clinics that are happening?
Yes. So the Pfizer vaccine, like we talked about, I believe, last week, was approved for children ages 12 and older. The clinic has received some Pfizer doses. I believe we have 300 of them on hand right now. And so we're going to be holding vaccination clinics for youth. These are going to take place today, which is Friday the 21st, and also on Monday the 24th. It's going to be at Menominee Indian High School in the small gym. It's going to be from 9 to noon, and then again from 1 p.m. to 3:30. Again, it's eligible. Anyone that's 12 or older is eligible. They can take walk-ins, but if you need to or want to, you can also set an appointment to make sure you get a spot. You can call the clinic at 715-799-5769 for that. Some of the requirements, parent or legal guardian should be present when the vaccine is administered. That is strongly encouraged. We understand that there are some situations where that doesn't or can't happen, but that is definitely the preference. They're going to send home, MISD will send home relevant paperwork to allow children to be vaccinated without a parent present, but that paperwork needs to be filled out and returned. Additionally, there's a consent to the vaccine form. It'll need to be signed by that parent or legal guardian, because we know there are some multi-generational families that live with grandparents, and so legal guardianship should be signing that. And then the Pfizer doses, you'll need 2 of them to become fully vaccinated, and they'll be administered about 3 weeks apart. General questions, that your child will have, or issues like allergies to medications, shots, things of those nature, and also whether or not they've been sick or experiencing any sort of COVID symptoms, and if they've had any sort of vaccination within the last 2 to 6 weeks, I believe is what it is. So that's currently what's going on with our activities for our youth vaccination program.
So Vaughn, this week we had a new emergency order that was released. Can you just go over some of the main highlights of that?
So this is emergency order number 16, and we're trying to follow the recommendations that the CDC just recently put out. And so this takes effect today, actually, May 21st. What it says is that individuals who are fully vaccinated, which means they've received either 2 shots of Pfizer or Moderna, and are 2 weeks out from that, or 1 shot of Johnson & Johnson and are 2 weeks out from that, can resume regular activities without wearing a mask or physical distancing, except where it's required by federal or state or local laws or by private businesses. Again, it's just for individuals that are fully vaccinated. Those who aren't should continue mask usage and physical distancing, especially in indoor institutions, businesses, office, stores, things of that nature. That said, the tribe is actually keeping mask mandates in place in locations of high frequency and of potential contamination, or potential areas where you could run into the virus and contract it. So face masks will still be required for everyone at the Menominee Tribal Clinic, all of the schools on the reservation, the CBRF, congregate sites like the meal sites, the Eagle's Nest and the DV shelter, the detention facilities, and the transit vehicles and facilities. Additionally, the tribe's discontinuing the process of temperature screenings as you enter buildings. So those are kind of the major points of what the new emergency order is.
Okay, so I did see the question come up on social media about how the tribe is enforcing whether they can tell how people are vaccinated or not. Is it kind of an honor system, or what is the deal with that?
So enforcement is really the issue that's causing a lot of heartburn in public health regarding the CDC's guidelines in changing who can, move around maskless. The tribe and private businesses on the reservation do reserve the right to request proof of vaccination, which is given to everyone who is vaccinated. They have a specific card. And so businesses and the tribal facilities can request that upon entry. And those who don't have it, will need to mask up. But there is an element of, the honor system for this. And so we would really appreciate the cooperation of everyone to continue using masks if you need to. We're really trying to allow people as much freedom as possible, but we really do need to keep the community as safe as possible while we try to reach herd immunity.
So Vaughn, I know we talked about breakthrough infections previously. Is there any updates or more information about breakthrough infections locally?
Yeah, so a new report came out in Wisconsin, and it focused on the 1.8 million residents that are fully vaccinated right now. And among those people, only 605 of them have been infected with COVID-19. So for those of you who love math and numbers, that means the breakthrough infection rate here in Wisconsin is 0.03%. It's incredibly low. And that's for people who have gotten 2 doses of Pfizer or Moderna or 1 shot of Johnson & Johnson. Now, that's good that it's low. However, our national breakthrough rate is actually 0.008%. So Wisconsin's a little bit higher for whatever reason than the overall rate nationally, but we're still doing pretty good. They have found that females are more likely to still be infected by COVID even after vaccination. They found that was about 66% of individuals, and 40% of those infections were individuals over the age of 65. So if you are older and female, you're still at slightly higher risk than someone that is younger, obviously, and in good health. So that's kind of where we stand as far as breakthroughs. So bear in mind, the vaccines aren't foolproof, but they're really good. So that's really great news for us.
And I know that we talked about this, I think it was maybe last week, that even if you do have a breakthrough infection with the vaccine, those are usually less severe, right?
Correct. Yeah, absolutely. If you are vaccinated and do get infected, they find the symptoms are close to asymptomatic or incredibly lessened from what a regular case would be, they've found. And if people want to read more about this, we can definitely put the links to these reports in the show notes today.
Okay, and then something else that has been in the news quite a bit this week is the child tax credit program. Can you talk a little bit about that?
So with the current administration, they've worked with the Treasury Department and the IRS to change how the child tax credit is distributed to Americans. Any married couple filing jointly that makes under $150,000 or a head of household making less than $112,500 or an individual making less than $75,000 should qualify for the child tax credit as it's currently written. It's about 88% of current households. What's going on is that the child tax credit was increased to $3,600 for children under the age of 6, and it was extended to age 17 and would be $3,000 for children's from ages 6 to 17. So instead of the one-time payment that families normally receive when they file their taxes in April, they're going to do monthly installments. And this breaks down to eligible families getting about $300 per month for children under the age of 6 and about $250 a month for children under the age or from the ages of 6 to 17. So to be eligible for this, obviously your income has to be under that, those marks, and you need to file your taxes. So if you have not done so, we recommend that you file your taxes as soon as possible, because the distribution starts in July.
So, are there any other upcoming opportunities that you think community members should be aware of that you've heard of?
So we learned about a new opportunity coming up for individuals on the reservation that we thought was rather interesting. There's a group called, and I probably will butcher this name and I apologize, the Niji Capital Partners. It's NIIJII. So I'm sorry if I slaughtered your name. I apologize for that. Anyway, this group, they're focusing on empowering Native communities, and what they're doing is they're starting the Indigenous Food Sovereignty and Economic Empowerment Program. And what their goal is to do is to provide technical support and business assistance to prospective clients who are focused on food and agricultural business endeavors and are Native American. So this group has both small business loans and a grant program. The grant program is going to kind of lean towards groups and organizations that are have a focus on incorporating youth into their program, and they're seeking food and agricultural based entrepreneurs who need assistance in reaching dreams of establishing things like restaurants, food delivery services, food production services, greenhouse projects. They also encourage things like foraging and bakeries, ranching, food trucks. There's a whole host of things they're willing to fund. The grants are for $1,000, and the due date for those is, I believe, due date for that is June 1st. Sorry for the quick turnaround on that. I just found out about it yesterday. If you turn in your application and are accepted for a grant, then you'll hear back by June 30th. And you'll need to obviously fill out one of their applications. You'll need a 2-page narrative about the goals and objectives of your group. You'll also need to include things like a copy of your articles of incorporation, tax returns for the business or personal tax returns, and also enrollment in your federally recognized tribe. They're currently working with 4 of them: Menominee, Oneida, Lac du Flambeau, and I'm sorry I missed the third one, but I believe they're up north as well. And you also need a food handler's license and proof of insurance. So that's kind of what you need if you want to apply for the grant. We can put their contact information definitely in the show notes so people can learn more about this great opportunity. Another opportunity that individuals might be interested in is what's called the FEED project, or the Food Entrepreneurship Ecosystem Development Project. And this is being put on by the University of Wisconsin in Madison, and it's a virtual summit. It's taking place this summer, and it's a series of workshops. Looks like they're going to have 4 of them right now. The first one is going to be June 7th. It'll be from 2 to 3:30 p.m. They're all going to be about an hour and a half. The first one will talk about starting a farm or home-based food business. The second one is starting or expanding that food business in Wisconsin. The third one will be on best practices in operating a food business out of a shared space. And then the fourth class will be starting or joining a food business cooperative. So if you're into producing food, making food, selling food, I would say eating food because I really like it, but not eating food. If you're into making food or increasing the economy around you through the development and production of food, these might be great opportunities for you because it's good information. The Wisconsin, the university program is free, and the applications for grants also free. So a lot of great opportunities are out there now.
Thank you for all the information, Vaughn. Do you have any final message for people for the weekend?
I would just like to thank the members of the community that have been vaccinated so far. I hope you enjoy running around maskless. For those of you that haven't been vaccinated yet, I'd strongly encourage you to do so. It can only benefit yourself and the community and keep you safer. So go get vaccinated.
Thank you, Vaughn.
You bet. Thanks for having me.
Waiwanan for listening to the Menominee Indian Tribe of Wisconsin podcast. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Stitcher. You can also listen to the podcast on menominee-nsn.gov under the Community tab. Keep up to date by following us on Facebook at MITW Podcast. I do weekly updates with Vaughn and welcome any community questions you have regarding COVID-19, so send those to us via email at podcast@mitw.org.